All right. Hi, students. Welcome back for another amazing school year. My name is Miss Von Lincoln, for those of you who I haven't met yet. And today we're going to talk about transcripts. So your teachers in your homeroom classes right now should have passed out a copy of your transcript. So transcripts are super helpful, super useful. And so we're going to go over how to read those, kind of what you're looking for. For the purposes of today, your teachers are looking at also at your transcripts to make sure that you're in the appropriate class, that you're not sitting in a class that you haven't taken the previous prerequisite class for, or that it's not your second time taking the class when you've already earned the credit, things like that. And so we're going to be talking about transcripts briefly this morning. And of course, if you have more questions or want to know more, talk to your counselor, talk to your teacher, and we'll make sure that you're feeling good about this as we continue throughout high school. So, first up, all right, let's keep going. So there's our standards, our agenda, some things we're going to talk about. I'm going to touch briefly on GPA, but if that's a lesson that we need more time on, I'll talk with your teachers about that and we can get that going. But as a quick review, in case you are not familiar or you're brand new to the state of Georgia or just forgot, the credits that you need for graduation to graduate from high school in the state of Georgia, there are 23 specific credits that you need. So there are going to be specifics within each of these categories, but overall, what you're looking for is for at the end of your 4 years of high school on your transcript, for there to be 4 credits of English, 4 math, 4 science, 3 social studies, at least 3 world language, fine arts, or CTAE classes, health and personal fitness, and then at least 4 of anything else. So that anything else is, it could be team sports or it could be AP psychology or anything in between. So there's a lot of things that can fit in that elective category, especially if you are going above and beyond in your area, you're finishing multiple pathways. And just generally speaking, as students on a block schedule, you're going to have more electives than those 23 minimum required credits. So, why is your transcript important? So it helps you understand and see how you might be on track to be promoted to the next grade level, obviously to graduate, to meet those graduation requirements. Colleges may have their own requirements, and then your transcript can also help you earn some scholarships. It tells a story, so it can tell a story to a future employer, to the college, to someone who is considering you for a scholarship. And these are other questions you can kind of ask as you're looking at these things, but have you challenged yourself with rigorous courses? Have you earned good grades? And does it actually demonstrate your academic growth? So those are some things that a story that your transcript can tell. So what's on your transcript? So you'll see up there in the upper left-hand corner, you got the school information and your personal information, like name, address, things like that. So you feel free to go ahead and right now double check to make sure those things are correct, and that your name is appearing as it does on your birth certificate. It also has your enrollment information. So the first day that you started ninth grade, that you're currently a student, your birthday, your student ID number, all those good things. So there are 2 different numbers on there. Your CCS DID is your Cobb County ID number, and then you also have the state of Georgia ID number. Some other things that you're going to see on your transcript are your attendance information, and sometimes you might see a social security number, but here at Kell, we don't put that usually on your transcript, but your social security number is helpful and important if you're trying to get the Hope Scholarship. So if you're not sure if your social security number is correct in our system, feel free, or you know that you haven't turned one of those in, maybe you enrolled really quickly and you didn't have that piece of information to give to us when you enrolled, we can verify it to make sure that you can hopefully get that Hope Scholarship by the time you graduate. So other things, this is the really important part about what's on your transcript. So if you have ever taken a high school class before, you're going to see some things. So my ninth grade students aren't going to really have too much on here yet, except for your in-progress classes and potentially some credits from middle school. But what you see here is on the left column, is going to be the year and the term, which would be like fall or spring, so semester one, semester two, of when you took the class, the grade level you were in when you took the class. There's a state course ID number that's associated with the class that you took. And so those numbers do actually all mean something. So, for example, language arts always starts with 23, math always starts with 27. You got the course title there for the class name that you took. And as you continue throughout high school, you might see those class names um, change up a little bit. So, for example, instead of ninth grade literature, we now call it literature and composition one. You'll see the grade that you earned in that class. If it's a class that you're currently taking, it's going to say IP for in progress and then your attempted credit. So if your entire time has been at Cal High School, we're on a block schedule, so that number is always going to be one. If you transfer to us from another school, it might be a 0.5 if you took half the class in the fall and half the class in the spring. And then you'll see your credits earned. So obviously your in-progress classes, you haven't earned those credits yet. If you failed the course, it would also have a 0 because you wouldn't have earned the credit yet. You should also have your EOC scores for any EOC classes and tests that you took. So that's just a general way to see what's on your transcript. And feel free to, right now to go ahead and double check yours and make sure everything's accounted for. So, just some other things, yeah, to note about what is on your transcript. So I mentioned some of these, but yes, credits. So you earn a class, you earn a credit by passing it with a 70% or higher. Anything below that in our system, right, is considered failing. And you would need, if it's a class needed for graduation, you would need to repeat that class. 0.5s are for A or B part classes. So potentially you see this coming from other schools, or maybe you took health over the summer and you still need to take personal fitness later. Those are 0.5 classes. Full credit unit is for one semester here. So you might see a Y listed there. So like, for example, World Literature Y, Mastery Orchestra Y. Okay, stands for the full year. And again, attempted credits are how many you attempted, right? At the beginning of high school, total credits earned are going to be how many you have earned. Okay. So for example, you see down there on the left, right? Attempted credits was 18, meaning that student attempted 18 different classes and then they earned all 18. Okay. You might see attempted credits less than total earned credits. So if you attempted 19, but you earned 22, you're like, that doesn't make sense. Most likely this is because you earned credits in middle school. If your attempted credits are more than the total credits earned, so for example, 18.5, but you only earned 17.5, that means you may not have passed a class somewhere along the way or two. Your in-progress courses, again, are listed as IP, which stands for in progress. So you do have the attempted credit listed, and then your credit will be awarded at the end of the semester once you have officially earned the grade, and that's also when it gets calculated into your GPA. Your transcript is a record of all of your courses you've ever taken in high school and including those that you didn't pass. So, for example, if you took chemistry, didn't quite earn the credit, but then you took it again through summer school and earned the credit, you're going to see both of those listed there, but you can only earn that credit once. Your middle school credits are going to say 0 attempted credit next to them because they do not get calculated into your high school GPA. And usually you'll make sure it says like 8th grade for your grade level. And typically it's also going to say middle school, high school next to it. So that's how you know that it was a middle school credit. So what's included on my transcript, your GPAs. So you'll see that there are 2 different GPAs at the top right corner of your transcript. So GPA stands for grade point average. Okay, so this is the average of all of the classes and grades that you've earned throughout high school. And this is something that a lot of times colleges will use. for admission, but it just kind of shows your overall academic achievement. So there are actually four different GPAs that you might want to consider. You'll see two of them on your Cal transcript. So you'll see your unweighted GPA and you'll see your weighted GPA listed there. And so some of you may already know what this means, okay? But unweighted is referring to just all of your courses equally weighted that are on your COP transcript. Your weighted GPA is if you have ever earned credit for a class that was honors, AP, IB if you're coming from another school, or if it was a dual enrollment class that was above and beyond what we offer at Kel, you might also earn some weighted credit for that class. Okay, so honors gets a half a quality point. AP and some dual enrollments get a full extra quality point on top of your GPA. So that's the difference there. Other GPAs that you won't see listed, but that are of notable worth are going to be your core GPA. And sometimes this is something that colleges will recalculate when they're only looking at your English, math, science, social studies, and maybe world languages, because they want to see kind of a true reflection of your academic performance without it being inflated by classes like weight training or chorus. You'll also see if you log into gafutures.org, you can see your HOPE GPA. So your HOPE GPA is what makes you considered for the HOPE scholarship. So some financing for college one day. And they calculate things a little bit differently as well. So they only have a zero point 0.5 quality point for AP, IB, and dual enrollment courses, but it does not exceed a 4.0. Okay, and that is calculated by, yes, the Georgia Student Finance Commission. GAFeatures.org is how you'll see that. So feel free to play around with your own transcript as you figure out what these different GPAs are. Okay, you'll see our grading scale listed here. Okay, right, so unweighted is just 0 through 4. Honors gets that half a quality point. AB, IB, and some dual enrollment get an extra full quality point. And then HOPE gets a half a quality point up to a 4.0 for AP and dual enrollment, but none for honors. Again, when you're doing your calculations, you're not going to calculate in that IP or that in progress class until you have fully completed the course. But sometimes it's nice if you're trying to play around with what your GPA might be one day, right? And you can kind of plug in your pretend numbers. So for example, if this was your transcript, okay, this is what your different GPAs would be. So unweighted would be 3.25, weighted would be 3.625, core would be 3.5, and hope would be 3.75. And I know I'm kind of rushing through these, but if you want more practice with this, please do it on your own, or I'll work with your teachers to see if we can get some more practice time. So it's just a way to reflect on kind of, yeah, how rigorous of classes you're taking, when you might want to report these different GPAs. What are your core academics? How do those affect your GPAs? More than elective classes? What are those academic electives? And what core academic electives are available at my school? What steps can I take to raise my HOPE GPA to a 3.9 if that's a goal of yours? So just lots of things to consider as you're looking at your transcript. Okay, so it's your transcript and it's going to change every semester as you continue to earn credits, but something to keep an eye on. I encourage you to, you're going to get to keep your transcript at the end of the day today, so I encourage you to save it somewhere safe, maybe take a picture of it, scan it. Sometimes if you're trying to get recruited to play sports in college, coaches want to see that transcript. So this is a way for you to have a copy to share with them. So make copies if you want. Turn it into a PDF, but also just to keep up with your own goals of maybe if you have a specific GPA in mind that you're kind of aiming for, but also to double check this for yourself. So I hope this was helpful. If you need anything, your counselors are here to help, and your teachers are also very knowledgeable, especially in their content areas, so they can kind of help you out with those things as well. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, Longhorns. Welcome back, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.